My name is Grant from the Association of Supply Chain Management. Today I'm visiting Bakkah here in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. My role at ASCM is the Strategy and Alliances Lead for Africa and the Middle East, supporting the partner network of ASCM. And it's my pleasure to work with this fantastic training organization here in Riyadh today. We find ourselves in many supply chain crises all happening at the same time. And I think really if we look at the landscape out there, ASCM has actually done a resiliency survey recently. Within that resiliency survey, we assess different types of risks that we see within supply chain management. We know that we have the existing risks right now, the geopolitical situation in the world, Russia, Ukraine. We have the oil prices, we have inflation, and many others that I can name. But what is really important is that we firstly identify the risks that we have, and then of course take the next step in terms of actioning any mitigation actions or steps that we may want to do to mitigate that. Unfortunately not. I think a lot of the crises that we find ourselves in right now are not controllable factors. If we look at things like the geopolitical risks, if we look at things like, as mentioned, the oil price spikes. But what I think we can do is manage our risk better. Doing things like incorporating a risk element into our S&OP, into our sales and operations planning process. Doing things like creating a risk matrix and really looking at risks from all angles. We know that we have some unknown risks too. We have known and unknown. And what's important is, at least with the known risks, that we build in place safeguards around it. We can do scenario modeling. We can look at what the potential impact of risks are. And through this, actually manage it a lot. I'd like to add the key metric actually that's present within the SCORE model within ASCM, and that is value at risk, which is the impact of a risk event occurring, multiplied by the probability of it occurring. This gives us a real sense of the magnitude of the possible impact of a risk occurring, right? So I think that's step one. We live in a volatile environment, and we need to manage through the volatility as well. I can say that we shouldn't be surprised if we have the next pandemic in a couple of years, if we have the next big event. We just need to be more prepared in order to deal with these things in the future. Let's look at the word sustainability. When people think of that word, the first thing usually that comes to mind is the green aspect of sustainability. So we think of the environmental component. But sustainability actually contains more than just environment. It's also the ethical as well as the economic aspect of that. What I actually want to share is that sustainability is not an or, it's an and. Doing all these things together without sacrificing economic success, without sacrificing our ethics, and maintaining our green or environmental footprint. This is what makes up sustainability. And within a supply chain, actually supply chains are the biggest contributor to most of these things. If you think of the procurement function, this is typically where you see corruption happen. This is where we focus on the ethical side. We have many examples over the years of organizations that have used suppliers that are unethical, unfair labor practices, for example, things like that we see a lot happening within the supply side. Also within manufacturing, this is where we can focus on the environmental aspect of supply chain, where we know that through vehicle usage, through manufacturing practices, there is a big source of an environmental damage that can happen. So within supply chain management, I think that sustainability should be well and truly ingrained within supply chains, and there are many models out there that can assist with this. We have many frameworks. ASCM has its own framework called the Standards for Sustainability, and really it's something that all organizations should be very aware of. ASCM has its own set of standards called the Enterprise Standards for Sustainability, and this is a great resource that organizations can use to assess their own maturity levels within the ethical, environmental, and the economic dimensions of sustainability. Well, I think we've had a lot of challenges in recent years, and therefore have had a lot of practice in dealing with challenges. I think we will sit with very similar challenges in the future, right? We have known examples of things that have happened within our supply chain in recent years that we have learned how to deal with. There is also the unknown challenges that exist, right? So these are things we just need to be prepared for. And how can we prepare for them? We can work on our what's called playbook, right? If we do have a situation where we are faced with an upcoming challenge that we didn't expect, what is the go-to in terms of how we deal with that? So having the availability of this type of response mechanism that we can use when faced with something new that we've never had to deal with before. So that's the minimum we can do. Also looking at things like, if we look at supply chain trends, right? Sustainability is a big trend. Digital supply chains is a big trend currently. These are things that we want to be aware of in order for us to support potential future regulation or potential future challenges that we could have in these areas. But for me, the biggest challenge, I think, and biggest opportunity actually, is having the right skills within our supply chain to support the upcoming changes in the future. We're going to need new skills. We're going to need new ways of working. We're going to need to understand our industries better and understand the supply chain environment. Things are moving very quickly. And I think having the right skills, the right mindset, right, not just focused on one type of skill within supply chain management, is actually very important. We talk about a T-shaped individual, right? So an individual that has depth in their area of supply chain management or in their functional area, but also has the broad understanding of the other functional areas and the other components within the supply chain. This helps them to think about how they impact that area of the supply chain, and also to take more initiatives and be more innovative in their thinking. So I think for me, if I were to focus on one thing ultimately that would be both a challenge and an opportunity, is our skill level and our ability to really take that to the next level going forward and into the future. Yes, well, when thinking of the leaders of the future, there's definitely two aspects to it. One is the actual experience that people get on the job. This is obviously very important and can never be discounted, right? That obviously has something that has to happen. But also looking at people that are just entering into the supply chain field right now, especially people that have not yet been exposed to supply chain management in any way. ASCM actually offers a course in collaboration through Bakkah Learning called The Foundations of Supply Chain Management. And within this course, we have 6 different modules, which are highly configurable. So actually you can do all 6 modules, or you can just choose one of the modules that's applicable to you. Within the modules, we have things like Introduction to Supply Chain Management, we have Operations Management, we have Distribution Management, amongst others. And these are really important topics within the supply chain that are essential, right, if you need to know about anything in the industry. I would also encourage for people that are not necessarily supply chain professionals or within the typical logistics functions to also consider these types of courses. We know that there's a need, for example, within the legal area, within finance, within marketing, within sales, all to also understand the concepts around supply chain management. So this is very exciting, and I think definitely a route to take for anyone who's just starting out, who needs that initial step into the industry. But of course, that's just the beginning. There's a lot more after that, and of course within the Bakkah world. So Bakkah does offer a lot more than just that first step, but for those individuals looking to start their careers in supply chain, I would definitely check it out and have a look at a little more detail into this. Thank you.
Thank you.